Constant criticism is not care. It's actually control disguised as concern. Now, let me say that again for the people in the back that didn't hear me. Constant criticism is not care. It's actually control disguised as concern. You see, you can actually damage a person, damage your children, damage your relationship, damage people by overcorrecting them. You see, when you overcorrect somebody, constantly telling them that these particular things that you like are not right, you create a chasm in that person, a schism in that person. You create apathy in that person, because what's the point of doing something if I can never get it right? You know, if you are cognizant, you have to understand the human brain is magnificent. It protects itself from things that are harmful from it. You know, I could give you thousands of examples, but I'll start with children. When you oversaturate children constantly telling them that they ain't did this right, they ain't did this right, step up, do this right, you didn't get all A's, why is this C on there? They become very apathetic. What's the point of me constantly trying to do something and all I do is get things wrong? I remember in my children's own life, you know, everybody would see the A's and the B's, and then they would focus specifically on the C. You know, I remember saying something to my daughter, and I saw, even though she was excited about her report card, when I started to say something about the one glitch, it's really not a glitch, but the one thing that she had that wasn't up to my standards, I saw her poor little face go down. So I started to say to myself, we're going to honor the things that you've done right, and later on we'll address how we can help you in the things that you weren't perfect at. You see, that is a better way to actually uplift people's self-esteem and self-worth. I remember being a young soldier. It was this one NCO, you hated to see him come around because he was Mr. Correction. Every time he came around, all of us got anxious. All of us, went into this shell because we knew he was going to point out something that we did wrong. While he thought he had our respect, we actually were repulsed by him because he did no upliftment. He really, in our eyes, just came around to put us down. You see, leadership is not about income. Leadership is about outcome. When you are a leader, your job is to uplift people. You can do that in a variety of ways. It doesn't always have to come in the form of correction. Some of the best ways I've learned as a human being is by observation. Oh, I gotta say that again. Some of the best ways I've learned as a human being is by observation. You see, the reason that's important, all of us come from backgrounds. All of us come from trauma. All of us come from having a lot of baggage in our lives. So you think you are Miss Correction, Mr. Correction. You think that is giving outcomes. Well, maybe you haven't studied your soldiers. Maybe you hadn't studied yourself. If you are a mother or father and you always constantly correcting, and you think that's having the best outcomes on your children, maybe you hadn't studied yourself. Maybe you hadn't studied your own trauma. Maybe you are trying to control folks based upon your trauma. I don't want to get into the parenting. That's not my reason for being on this message. My message for you today is whomever you may be, correction is not always the viable solution. Sometimes in my humble opinion, example is more valuable. Your life is a sermon. Be careful how you preach it. Woo! Have a great day.